Hello Perth, and welcome to the next episode of our Perth LinkedIn Success Series. Janine, Bruno, hello again.
Hello, Ryan.
Good to see you
I'm
again.
hoping you're keeping dry in this revolting weather.
It
man.
is keeping dry. I feel like I'm spending more time with you guys than I'm doing at home.
Well, that's the best way to
Is that
do
a good
it.
thing?
It's a good thing.
Surround yourself with wonderful people,
That's
right?
it.
Exactly.
Always a sunny day.
It is with us three. So I don't want to waste any more time. I want to get our special guest on for this episode. Please welcome Dave Clare. Hey, mate.
How are you?
Good to
Good to see you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Janine. Lovely to see you.
You too.
Bruno.
See you, mate. Good to see
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
See you.
Yes, dodging raindrops on my way here. So
It's all good. You know, you're still looking
Yeah.
like you just so.
yeah, I was clicking heels and singing in the rain like Gene Kelly all the way down St. George's Terrace just to get here to be with you guys.
Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. All right, Dave. Once again, I just want to thank you for making the time to join us today.
My pleasure.
And,
Thank you for the privilege to be here.
Yes, I know that you've been an extremely busy guy, you know, having to be an author, keynote speaker, leadership expert. You know, how do you find time to keep so busy and still be on top of
How do I have so many things on the go? And well, once again, from being productive in terms, it's looking at getting the right thing done in the right time for the right length of time. So it's a matter of prioritizing the things that need to happen. And obviously, I also believe the reason why I'm able to get so many of these things done right now is because I have such a big goal. It's pretty easy to define the things that I need to do because I don't have time in my mind for all the other stuff. So I just focus on the things that are important to advance the goals. So, you know, when you look at that, so yes, author, speaker, and it's quite funny, Bruno, because a lot of the things intertwine.
Yes.
So, you know, writing the book came as a result of me going around Australia speaking and people asking me for more and how do I put this all together. You know, certainly work with organizations in terms of programs and stuff, but then to be able to take all that and put it into a vehicle as a voice, as a message to reach more people, the book was a natural progression. So how do you do it? Well, I was a speaker, I had a message, I thought, okay, great, I can reach so many people with that. I need to then put it into written format, Audible, and all these things. And then also now I need, at the back end of that, the next progression was, okay, I need now I'm out there solving the problem that I'm passionate about in the world, that the organization is just a natural progression of that.
Yeah.
So
And I know that you know you're working so hard on trying to go global with some of the
Yes.
things that you're doing. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
you know what? It's quite funny because being Canadian. So firstly,
Get out
before anyone calls me
No
anything
one's
else,
noticed.
get nasty. Being a Canadian and my business partner, he's from the UK, that's helping me launch the organization. And so I have a lot of clients still back in Canada and some ones that I've worked with in the US. So going global wasn't difficult in terms of us considering to have a global organization. And it's also, it's funny because once again, when I'm working with people, I challenge the thinking around, you know, there's this old expression, you know, blossom where you're planted, which, you know, is okay, but you're not a tree, right? And the funny thing is we're working on our businesses and we're, you know, all this buy local, shop local. Instead of thinking, hang on, there's 7 billion people across the pond, especially from us here in Perth,
Yes.
all right? And Perth's one of the most isolated cities in the world. Whilst it's really cool and got really neat stuff going on here, but there's 7 billion people across the pond. So we should be thinking, how do we take our business to the world and bring the world to our business?
Yeah.
So, and also the problem that I'm most passionate about solving in the world is global. So if I want to solve that problem, I need to build a global organization.
Before we were discussing your pains that you had in writing the book, and
Yeah.
in that you took it on you solely. You wanted to make it your own. It's purely your own knowledge put into this book. I'm going to be very interested to read it myself. I'm very passionate about leadership, and given the commerce degree that I've done. Tell us about your book.
Yeah, so first to answer your first part of the question, yes, it's part storybook. So each chapter sort of explains how I learned or what I learned that lesson or where I learned it.
Yeah.
And then how it applies to business and some tools and models and, you know, obviously some metaphors and some, you know, analogies and things like that to help, you know, left and right brain of us all to absorb the content. But it's tied to, here's where I learned this, here's where I learned that, here's where this. And, you know, what I think one of my gifts or talents is my ability to simplify the complexities of life and synergize a whole bunch of things. So I took all the learning that I've had as each phase of my life has progressed and said, you know, if we just did it like all this and put all that together, we could simplify the way we lead and manage organizations. The book is called Simplified because it's based on my philosophy that leadership is simple. You lead people. I think a lot of what we call leadership today is just modern management practices. Yeah. And if you look at what's going on in the world, we're spending $50 billion per annum on average to make leadership better. Yet the gap is widening in all countries around the world. The disengagement rate is on the increase for employees. So how can we be spending so much, gap getting wider, disengagement rates are getting worse? Well, hang on, there's something wrong. So I believe that leadership is in crisis mode around the world today.
It's not rocket science, but so many get it wrong now, I'm telling you.
Right, yeah. And actually, I do get accused from time to time by people of saying I've made it too simple. Well, but it is. Execution is just where it gets difficult because you're asking people to shift their thinking about how organizations are structured and run. So the book takes on journey, and then it looks at the three things that people want. And everybody can check this for themselves, but there's three things that people want in business. As leaders, we need to be very aware of. So it's helping them find that in their work. So they have something to believe in. Then they want someone who believes in them. So I want to know that my leader believes in me. So that's where having a set of core values in your organization to empower me to make better decisions, I can believe in.
It's really powerful.
So as a leader with an inspiring vision that can see a world that's far bigger than all of us combined.
That's too simplified, Dave.
I know.
It's brilliant. And given it's a LinkedIn series,
yes.
LinkedIn, tell us how you use it. What's the strategy behind it?
Yeah, you know what? And this is fascinating. My journey on LinkedIn has really accelerated probably over the last couple of years. As I was traveling around Australia, sharing some of the speaking events, the stuff we were talking about, some of the challenges where people are having, and I got a call, actually a message through LinkedIn out of the blue, out of one of your former guests. Professor Gary Martin from the Australian Institute of Management.
I was literally just about to mention him before, but I thought this is another thought. I was like, you and Gary must be doing some work, or you must need to work together.
Well, we are actually. So,
that's brilliant.
yes, it was fantastic. And Gary, if you're watching this, thanks, much love for your brother. But and he's phenomenal. Gary is. I could do a whole session just on how much I love Gary Martin right now.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I know. but so he reached out to me and he said, Dave, I've been watching. I've seen some of the stuff you're doing. I'd love to catch up with you at coffee and talk about all your speaking you've been doing. But the cool part is I called up Gary when I'd finished the book, and we had a meeting, and he said the Australian Institute of Management would like to host the launch. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you want to give me the facility? And then he goes, no, we want to host it. So they ended up buying 100 copies of the book.
Launched yet?
No. So,
that's great.
And it was great. And then he gave me a wonderful, because I asked him to read it first. I said, before you do that, can you just read it and give me your feedback? And it's quite funny, because I don't know if you guys have ever written content or put something out there. You never know. I'm not one to, what I call, drink my own Kool-Aid. And I really and I know that the book. I was proud of what the book,
Hashtag drink my own.
Yeah. Hashtag, put that hashtag drink my own Kool-Aid. Don't drink my own Kool-Aid. And I asked Gary just to give me his honest feedback. Now you appreciate a guy like Professor Gary Martin, who's probably one of the most well-read gentlemen in leadership. Also wouldn't put his name to anything he didn't believe. He gave me this amazing testimonial. For it, which ended up becoming the foreword in the book. So I put Professor Gary Martin's thing up on LinkedIn as his testimony with a picture of the book. And then I also had the book on a pre-order site called Publishizer, which helps you to get all the pre-orders in and also attract attention of publishers. But when you got to 250, you get into the higher end publishers. And so certainly the purchase from Australian Institute of Management helped get to there, but we hit 251 with 12 hours to go in the campaign. But leading up to that, I found out which publishers were the ones that I would be put in front of that I really wanted to get in front of. So I researched them on LinkedIn, went through all their profiles, checked out their websites, used this great marketing tool that we have, a networking tool, and then I started calling them out on LinkedIn and Twitter. The publisher. I said, Professor Gary Martin's things is about my book. Surely one of these publishers would appreciate that it's, got some...
Bit of humor.
Yeah, and actually, so I was only at about 180 something pre-sales at that time. And then I got a message come back to me from the founder of Morgan James Publishing, largest independent publisher in New York, fastest growing, 8 times Publisher Weekly winner, 28 bestsellers. And I'm like, he says, okay, you got my attention.
Brilliant.
And long story short,
that's a great story.
They have. I signed an offer last week for Morgan James Publishing to publish Simplified.
Dave, on behalf of all three of us, thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us today and giving us an insight into the Simplified book. Really appreciate it, and the insights into the leadership. Fantastic. So thank you very much.
No, truly
on behalf
pleasure.
of all of us.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bruno.
Great for making the time to come, eh?
Thank you. No, absolute pleasure to be here and share my LinkedIn story.